Hi, welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to take a look at the G.I. Joe Classified Mutt and Junkyard. Now, this thing has been, well, it's just strange. Let's just say I had it ordered from multiple places, and BBTS hit me up, so I ordered it from BBTS, told it to send. I had to call Hasbro Pulse because they took it off, which means they were getting ready to ship it, so you can't cancel it without calling. So if you see that issue, go ahead and call. Amazon said it wasn't coming to the 16th. My buddy Greg hits me up, says, hey, this just showed up out of nowhere. And I said, nope, mine still says the 16th. I go and look, and it says out for delivery today. So I will have another one coming. Haven't really decided what I'm going to do with it. Also got Shadow Tracker in, which is what I was planning on doing. I asked my daughter, and she said this one because she saw the dog and she instantly said, I want that in your will. Yes, that's how morbid my kids are. They're already picking stuff in their will. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to compare it to the original Mutt and Junkyard. We're also going to compare it to the Classified Timbers, so we can see the size different. And if you are wondering, I am trying to avoid the table and knocking everything over. So anyway, back to this beautiful piece. We're now back to the windowed packaging. I think it looks fine. I really wish they would have used the artwork. Just the black and white could have still been done in the background. They were doing it right. But anyway, we got this nice artwork here. Mutt, Junkyard. We see everything, including all the hands, the happy face, the good boy face, the angry face, the Mutt, and we're going to see if they did this justice. There have been a lot of complaints, and that may change after this video. So there we go on the side. There's the back of it. Again, wonderful artwork. You get angry Junkyard. You get Mutt with his muzzle on. And then you have everything else. So, and then we have number 113 in the line. And yes, the QR code that leads you to nowhere. So anyway, let's take a look at this. I'm really excited to get this one. I always like Mutt and Junkyard. So, but before we do, if you like the content that I'm giving you, like all this G.I. Joe stuff that I've been giving to you guys, take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop another G.I. Joe video. And like I said, I got Shadow Tracker, but that won't be done for a day or two. Okay, so my first gripe about this plastic packaging being back is that the figure is absolutely crammed in here, so you have to do all this pushing to get everything out, all right? He doesn't fall out nicely. He's not tied in. I much would rather have the old cardboard that they were just doing, or shall I say not even the old, the latest. Every single thing in here was a pain in the ass to get out. And the one thing that we had actually discussed is that hopefully with the plastic holding everything in, you'd be able to keep the weapons would stay straighter. Here's the problem is, look at this. The knife, I had to cram to get out, so it's completely bent. I had to bend the gun. So as I was trying to get the gun out, did it bend? I guess it stayed pretty straight. But I had to bend the gun. The gun was bending. This was, I mean, it was just a pain. So go back to what you were doing. Leave the plastic if that's what you want so we can see the figure, but have it tied in there. All right, gripe is over. No more of that stupid locker that we got that I really didn't like. So anyway, let's get to the actual figure. And as you can see, lots of stuff. And as you can see, the figure is not laid out nicely because I had to kind of bend him to get him out. So we have our O-ring, my original one as a child that we're going to kind of look at. He is not complete. And then we have Junkyard, and we'll be able to take a look at Junkyard. So quickly, we'll take a look at his baton. And as you can see, it is slightly bent. I believe it is the same one that Shockwave uses over here. I don't have a problem with this not having any paint apps because normally they would just be pure black. So this is perfectly fine. Again, I'm able to bend it back to where it needs to be, and everything seems to look nice. We got the M16, which has already come with grunt. I love the fact that they put the barrel and made it green, so you just have a little bit of apps to it. You got the scope on it, removable magazine, which it does tend to stay in there. And it is pretty straight for the most part, so not too many complaints there. Yes, it is going to be flexible. Again, if this is how it's going to be, I'm not going to complain all that much about it. So the detail on it, as we've already looked at with Grunt, does look pretty nice. You can tell that the stock is meant to retract a little bit. And I actually really like him with this weapon. Here we have his pistol, which the slide is also painted green. So it's going to go with his deco. I think it really just gives a little bit of character to the figure. The design looks pretty nice. No hole in it. No stupid bayonet on it. So I have no problems with this. I like the way that looks. Here's a knife, which I will probably never use. Again, I can bend it back. But they should have just made these so they just kind of just fell right out. There's other brands that do it, or they should have done something. I don't know. But as you can see, this thing is like just completely bent. A little bit of paint app on it because it's for 3+ or 4+. You can tell how thick the knife is. It just doesn't look right. The old knives were perfectly fine, but I guess if that's what they're going for, this is what we're going to get stuck with. We got 2 sets of goggles, which is what they've been doing. So this would go on his face. This would go on his helmet. Now, I do not have my original Mutt's helmet, but if you remember, his did have goggles on it. So this is what they do, so you don't have to worry about stretching them and breaking them, which I do really appreciate. Here's his helmet, which from everything that I can remember, this is how it looked. Now, it is interesting that they put the little holes on the side. That makes me wonder if they may have a visor coming down soon for some of the original O-rings that had visors. Could we be getting the original 13? And this would be the helmet that they're going to use. All right, so lots of hands. Now this is where the QR code would be awesome. Not only could it lead to a file card, but it also could lead to what the hand motions are for the dog. And I guess before that I forgot to point out the muzzle. I think the muzzle looks really nice. You got your green here, your reds on the side, and for the most part, the paint looks pretty good. It's very pliable, so it should stretch right around his mouth without a problem. So let's look at all the different hands that he does have. So he comes with one punching hand. You have, I'm going to assume, a stop hand, right? This is a treat hand. I don't know. If you're a dog trainer, let me know. Shark Eyes, do you know? Kind of has a pointing hand here. You have another cupped hand. Now this will work really good for his M16. And then you have the kiss off hand. Honestly, I really don't know. So if anyone knows what the hand gestures are, please in the comments let me know. I would absolutely love to know exactly what they are. Yeah, he fell right over. We're going to look at Junkyard last because, let's be honest, the puppy's awesome. All right. Get to Junkyard right here. All right. So, let's look at his articulation. He can only look up so far. I really wish they'd fix it so you could look up better. Good down motion. Head and neck move back and forth. T-pose without a problem. Bicep swivel. Pinless double joints. And absolutely no problems. I like to say, hey, you know what? And it's cold in Michigan, but it's like almost 50, so it's not really that cold. He does have an ab crunch. Now, this vest is going to prevent a little bit of it, but because it's broken down, it doesn't go all the way down. You are able to get some ab crunch, and you can even see the ab right in the back there. And he does move back and forth, and he feels a lot better than some of them, where I know some of them seem to be kind of sticky and everything. There's this Jean-Claude Van Damme drop down hips. He can kick straight out, so you'll be able to sit him straight down in, let's say, your ramp when you get it, or in his tank. Double pinless knee joints, and again, these figures feel really, really good. Then you got your thigh swivel. And if anyone's wondering, I go over this because there are new people coming into the line all the time. They may not know the difference, so, or someone that just wants to check out a classified. So I quickly go through all of that. You got your boot cut, boot swivel. So there you go. So now let's go ahead and put his knife on him. And hopefully that straightens out. Not that I'll probably ever use it. And then we'll take the holster and throw in his black and green gun. Now, it is nice that if you're a completist and maybe you don't keep them all their extra parts in the box, you're able to tell which gun is going to be his. All right. But I know what you guys want. You guys want to see how he compares to the O-ring version. So before we start suiting him up completely, he does not come with the original Mutt. Now this is from the accessory pack. I do not have the original with the suppressor. Do I wish they had this? Kind of. It was just always really cool. He also doesn't come with this stick, which I'm not sure I ever understood. I think he wants to be really whipping Junkyard. And let's move his arm down. And now let's go ahead and take a look at this figure and see how close he is to our original O-ring. So, just to start off, and I had the same issue. People had a problem that he just always looks like he's angry. And it would be nice if they had another face so it could go along with the happy dog face. But Mutt here is obviously a little angry. He has that wonderful stash. And they did a nice 5 o'clock shadow. So I can't think of another figure that really has a 5 o'clock shadow. But they did it pretty good on this. That is for sure. Looking at the paint, his eyes seem to be pointing straight. I don't see paint in the wrong spots. You can see where obviously he got scratched on his face. Gritting those teeth, and you can actually make out the difference in each tooth. The eyebrows, which again, if you want to look at the original, they definitely look very similar, all the way to he kind of has the rock eyebrow on both of them. And the hair, even though there's some texture on one and not on the other, you can tell it's the same hairdo. Let's not break this peg off in that. All right, so now let's look at the vest. So you have his knife, which is a good comparison. And then you have the red that goes over on both sides. He has the shotgun shells. I'm not sure exactly. It looks like they're shotgun shells, but now he just has a pouch here and a pouch on the original. You can see where the clasps are. They just painted them. So again, the vest looks just like the original. It just goes down all the way. And then when you look at the belt, he does have some pouches on it. So it looks really nice. And if you look, you can see the star on both of them. So absolutely wonderful that they did that. No chest hair on the original, but they did give him some chest hair right over here. And I like what they did with the collar here. It just looks and feels better. For his handler glove, they gave it some brown, which I think it looks nice, but you can see they did redesign it, or they just incorporated it. But even how you can see how you have the little circles here. You also have it on the inside. So they just basically gave him a little bit more padding on top of this glove. And then they gave him a glove around this side, which I'm perfectly fine with, along with some arm hair, which I could have done without because you can see it just kind of cuts off right there. Not the most natural thing, but I'm also not going to be too angry about it. Going down to the pants, the green is actually pretty accurate. You don't have the shine to it. You have the holster and the gun on the side, which again does look extremely nice. And I know people have complained that there's no strap to hold it up there, but on the O-ring, they don't do it either. So it's one of those things where a lot of people want the exact same original or as close to it as possible, and this is kind of what they're giving you. And then even the knee pads, you can see they have texture on them. So again, they are recreating this really good. And I don't mind them recreating this one because I think he's very classic. The boots, they made a little bit different, gave you some shin guards. They don't seem to get in the way, which is great. And they just put the black on there where they're just all brown on the original. And then if you look at the back here, he does have some, what I would assume, a horn. I think that's a horn, not pepper spray. I could be wrong. If you do know, let me know. He does have the pouches on the back, or the pouches, the pockets on the back. All right, so let's quickly arm him up. And first off, we'll throw, boom, this on here. So the goggles are just going to go on like so. I don't think that I'll ever use him with the goggles. But again, if you're out there doing shots, doing photography, you may want to use them. Get the muzzle, which I believe we're going to have to pop the head off. So we're going to do the muzzle. We're going to pop the head, which came off extremely easy. And so that's just going to go on just like so. And there you go. So I believe that happened on the right way. I think you can actually just pull it down. So if you want to make it so he's talking, you can just kind of pull that down. Then you can just kind of pull that thing right back up. And it fits on there really nicely. So I think it's cool. I think it gives him a lot of character. Not a lot of different character, but a lot of character. And then you have the helmet. Let's take these goggles. And we're going to throw it over there. And for a lot of the figures, if you don't know, if the helmet seems too loose, like this one does, you take these goggles, put them on backwards, then you drop the helmet on there, and then it stays in place. And once again, everything is fitting on his person. Now, obviously, he's going to have a lot of hands. These are just going to sit here. I guess we can kind of stretch it. So this is how it's supposed to look. And I think you're going to need some sort of sticky tack just a little bit behind it, so it's going to keep it in place if this is how you want to show them off. All right, so I want to pop this off. Pop the head back on. Now again, he does come with 2 trigger fingers. So let's just get this on here really easily. Really quickly. And how easy is it to pose him? So that's what I like to show you. Am I going to take an hour to pose him? Am I going to be able to pose him really quickly? Pry this hand open like that. And you just kind of wrap it on there. Look at that. And then rather having like a C-cupped hand, he's actually grabbing. I'll take that off. Sometimes you pull that thing out. Anyway. So you can see it's going to take a little bit of time to pose him. which I usually would do at the end. But there you go. And again, how easy they just stand, no problem at all. All right, so let's get to a couple of the hands really quick and how easy do they come out. And again, if you are, ooh, look at this. So, all right, watch out. So he does have a little bracelet that goes around it. So every time you replace one of the hands, you're going to want to be careful with that. So, hand did come off really easily. Now it looks kind of silly there because I didn't put the bracelet on there. So still it's not really quick. It just doesn't look right. So if you want to, you can kind of feed him a treat. Get him down on one knee, have him feeding him, have him feeding it. There you go. All right. So the hands come off really easily. I don't know how many of these I'm going to use. That one comes off really nicely. Looks like you got a broken finger on that one. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, yeah. You're going to have to heat this up, fix that. I'm not a big fan of that. Again, here's another treat for him. And what I just realized is this comes off. But then it looks weird because he doesn't have the piece that goes around. So, I don't know. I guess he could have short gloves, right? They don't look right. Like more like MMA gloves. All right, this thing is dragging on. We haven't even got to Junkyard. So let's get to Junkyard. Let's compare him to the original. Let me find that little piece there. Again, this is what you guys know when you tune into one of my reviews. I'm going to go on and on and on. I'm going to try and show you the best that I can. So, here's Junkyard, and here's the original Junkyard. And, oh, doesn't he look cute? He had, like, little puppies, all right? He didn't have puppies. He made his girlfriend have puppies. But, you want to have a little puppy for Junkyard? There you go. So, let's look at his articulation. So, you get his head that moves back and forth, up and down. His neck also turns. Now, this is a Rottweiler. I have a Pit Bull, but they look very similar, and it's kind of how they look. So, bend the legs, the front legs. They do come out a little bit, so you can kind of see how they move back and forth. So, you're able to get some articulation there. Back and forth. You got your hind legs. Now, they feel kind of soft in some points. So, even the paws tend to move. Now this here, I'm just having a hard time bending, and I don't want to pressure it, although I have another one coming. All right, there you go. So, I will say this. These hind legs are soft. They are rubberized to an extent. But, so if you want to get them to kind of lay down, do different little maneuvers. His waist shifts back and forth. Now, then you look at his harness. I love the fact that they did a harness, because anyone that has a big dog like this, you really don't want to attach it by the collar. So, you can grab it here. It would be cool if they actually had a leash for him, but I guess he's trained enough, you don't need it. He's got some protection against him, which is what a military dog mostly would have. For the most part, he looks really nice. Now, looking at this angry face, you got the jowls there. Whew, look at those eyes. They put so much, I think they put so much work into their animal companions. Then you look up his nostrils. Paint looks absolutely wonderful. All the way down to the front legs. Not pinless. I know someone will complain. Not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, the feet, you can obviously see a different color. Look at the little paw prints. So if you're playing in the snow or the mud or the dirt, you can make that. Pop off this head. Ooh, that thing came off really easy. And as you can see, there's your collar. So if you don't want to have him with a collar, you want to put him with this good boy. I mentioned the collar thing because my son is like obsessed with taking off Roman's collar all the time. Now you have the good boy face. Look at those little eyes, that tongue hanging out. I mean, again, I have a Pitty. This is a little Roddy. And they have a lot of the same features. So I think this thing looks absolutely wonderful. Now let's grab Timber. Well, actually, so as you can see, there's really no comparison. You know, on the bottom, they did give him a little bit of color. So there were some paint apps on the original one. But as you can see, you kind of get him in the same stance. Looks like he's angry, like he's ready to attack. But what I did was I brought over the nice Timber. And as you can see, there's a nice size difference. Timber is supposed to be, I believe, a gray wolf. And the one's white, one's gray. And Lenny talked about it, and he said they are bigger. So, as you can see, Timber is much bigger than Junkyard. Now, I'm not sure if that would be correct because he's a Rottweiler, not a Pit Bull. Rottweilers are pretty damn big, as many of you guys would know. 100 to 120 pounds normally. And then you have the... So this would be the happy face when they're just kind of chilling in the pit. But when you look at the angry face, when someone's breaking into the pit, you know, these two are going to be going out there and let's be honest, man, they're not putting up with anyone's shit. So I like this. I was so excited. I feel like he might be a little small, but it's hard to say. I'm obviously not going to complain. I think he looks really nice. I think Mutt looks good. Again, I was a little angry. Not a little angry. A little upset at first with the mouth. And then when I grabbed my O-ring, I saw it and I remembered, oh yeah, you know what? He had that angry look to him. So that's all they were doing is recreating the O-ring. Some people like it. Some people don't. Some people want an update. I'm kind of in the middle with it, so there you go. That is our Mutt and Junkyard review, and sorry it went on long, but you asked me to compare. Really, I had to review two different things. All right, so my final thought on this Mutt and Junkyard is I really do like it. I love the animal companions. They have knocked it out of the park with Timber, Fiona, Spirit or Freedom, shall I say, and of course now Junkyard. Mutt looks absolutely amazing. They did capture the original figure, I think, really well. To the helmet, they gave him a different weapon, which is the M16. I know there's going to be a lot of reuse, but I actually think the M16 works good for this style of figure, for what he actually is. The two different head sculpts, I think, are a must when it comes to an animal companion like a dog or a wolf. You got to have a happy, you got to have an angry. They just can't, you have to be able to distinguish the two. And it does force people to want to keep or buy multiple. So I'm really happy with this so far. This might have hit one of my top 10 if I would have gotten it earlier. Actually, I might still throw it on. All right, so I'm not really sure what else can be said. The G.I. Joe team has just knocked so many figures out of the park this year. And again, this coming in and getting it right before the end of the year. And I did mention at the end, I might still throw it on there. I might have to. I have to play around with a little bit. I haven't done my list. I have it all written up. I haven't recorded anything. So I guess I could still throw it on here. I do want to mention something before somebody makes a comment. If you made it this far, it took me 30 plus years and doing this to realize, oh, that's a billy club. It's not like a little whip on the back of a baton, so he could whip Junkyard. These are the things I told you. I've learned so much about my O-ring figures, comparing them to the classified, that I really never knew was something back then, because you're not looking at it. You're just kind of playing with them when you're a kid. But anyway, enough about the O-ring. And if you like this figure, it is $45. I think it's worth it, but that's just my opinion. I can't spend your money, and I'm not going to try to. But I will say this, I hope you got a good look at it. Yes, this one ran long, and I do apologize for anyone that just wants a quick in and out. Boom, that's what she said. Hey, if you like that, go check out B's Battleground. He's able to put a video together and do it within like 12 minutes. If I get one in under 20, it's amazing. This one's going to go like over 30. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. But anyway, if you haven't followed me yet on Instagram and you're wondering, hey, you're not posting anymore, I have a new Instagram. It is @punkwith_toys. You also know Twitter, TikTok, @punkwithtoys. I do occasionally post stuff there. And last but not least, you've been here this long. Don't go anywhere. If you haven't yet, take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I do drop a new G.I. Joe video. Now, if you're still here, don't go anywhere. See right up here, this is going to be the Wolf Spider video, and down here is the classified list of all the figures that I've done. Take care now.